Hey everyone, I think I'm live here. Hold on one second. Let me put these headphones down. I may have a guest on later. I'm not sure. I invited Corey on, but I'm not sure. He sounds like he's getting the kids ready and everything. But I thought what I would do is just come on here and do some remarks. I've got the Kickstarter running right now, which my little thing didn't pop up here. Hold on, let me throw that up there so you guys can see that. There you go. All right, let me now go back to the comments. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to kind of go through my process of doing remarks. If you're not familiar with a remark it is just basically this. It is just a little drawing right there on the cover, and they can take a number of different forms depending on the artist. Sometimes it's just a quick little like doodle with a Sharpie. I tend to go a little extra and do something like this. But since, as you can see with the cover of this comic here, and it's a little, the lighting's kind of flushed out a little bit, but you can see there's an ice cream truck in the background. So this comic has a little bit of an ice cream theme to it. So I thought it'd be fun to do my remarks as zombie popsicles or pops or whatever. So if you remember those Batman or Spider-Man and SpongeBob popsicles that you get from the ice cream man, well, I don't know if they're necessarily popsicles. They're more like ice cream on a stick. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So I thought it'd be fun to do those. So I'm just going to kind of go through, like I said, the process. I'm going to show everyone how I go about doing that. It's a little different than usually, how I would draw or color something. You kind of have to do it backwards. So what you have to do first, and I've got some of these already set up, so I'll show you. You basically have to block out the color with a white pen. You can see where I've already blocked one out, but I'm going to go ahead and do one of those so you can kind of see. And I've experimented with a number of different paint pens to do this. And the ones that I found are the best are these Molotow. They are, graffiti artists use these quite a bit. I've seen, and they come in different sizes. I use a couple different sizes. Which one is this? This one is a 2mm, and then the thick one is a 4mm. And again, these come in white. They come in different colors. I just use the white for blocking things out. And I also use either Copics or whatever, some kind of alcohol-based markers. These are a Hoo-Hoo brand, and I'm using microns and just a pencil. And that's pretty much it. But like I said, it's a little backwards, and it can take some getting used to. You might want to practice on maybe some. If you get some, like sometimes they give out free comics or just a magazine practice. That's what I first started doing, is practice on those. So I knew I can get it right. But there's other paint pens out there. Sharpie makes them. And there's two different kinds. There's like a water-based and an oil-based. I think the water is the one you want to get, but I'm not crazy about these Sharpies. They're a little watery. And also I thought, because like I said, these are a little expensive. I was doing a lot of remarks, and, I was going through these things. And I thought, well, I'll go ahead and buy a big pack. I bought this off of Amazon, and and it was super cheap. It was probably maybe twice as much as maybe one of these things. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good deal. So I got these. I tried them out, and they're like no good. I might be able to use them for something like some kind of just drawing on like black paper or something like that. I'll probably get some use out of them, but they definitely aren't good for remarks. So I would advise, it's one of those things. Usually I say you can go with whatever you want. But this is one of those situations where at least I found that it helps to go with more quality, at least for these. Like I said, with the Hulu brand, I use these. These are a lot cheaper than Copics, and I think they're very comparable. Maybe not as good, but so close and so much less expensive. So I'm all for saving money, but in this case, I would tend to use something like this. So let's see. We got some people in the chat here. We got Salazar Art Nation Frank. We got Ilya. We've got Keeman Monet Arts, and we've got Christopher Rauschman. So how you guys doing? Let's see. Christopher says, I'm using paint pens at the studio tonight. Oh, awesome. That's cool. They are great. Looking forward to watching the show. And we got Andy A just popped in. So how you guys all doing? So let's get to it. So first thing I'm going to do is block these off. And I've got, like I said, I've got these in various stages because I'm going to switch around because you need to give these time to dry. So I got some already blocked out and ready to go. I don't know how many I'm going to get through. I'm only going to do this stream for probably like an hour, I think, because I'm going to be jumping on Jeff Lafferty and Gibbs Artcasters probably after this. So you can probably find me over there. Oh, you know what I did forget? I forgot to get a piece of paper. Hold on. It helps to get like just a piece of paper to test these out, because you want to make sure you're getting some ink coming out of there. And then it's kind of like a guessing game. You have to have a pretty good idea of what you're going to draw and what that shape takes, what kind of shape it takes. So I've drawn a number of these zombies, so I kind of have an idea, but I'm going to use the thinner Molotow to kind of, it's basically like a skull shape. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to add some ears. I'll make them a little oblong, one bigger than the other. That's the way I like to draw my zombies. And I want some drips here because it's going to be, it's a dripping popsicle. I'm going to draw the popsicle stick. So that's the basic thing. The only thing is, because I'm doing a popsicle, see how it's got kind of this 3D look to it? You're seeing sort of the side of it a little bit. So I just, on one side here, I just want to make sure that this side's a little bit thicker than the other side. Let me go back there. So now that I've got that, I'm going to switch over to the big one. And again, just go like that. And what I found, let's see. We got Granda Comics. How's it going? For some reason, this isn't sticking to the back of my marker. All right, we'll just leave it there. Okay, so I'm going to get this thing going, and I like to do it once I get it going. I don't like to lift up, because then sometimes you have to restart. But if I can get it going, I just like to keep just doing this until I can fill in the whole area. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kind of go in here, and you get a little resistance even when you cross over the stuff you've already done, because obviously these they're not really made for this. Somebody somewhere had this idea to do these and it became a thing. So they're, you're kind of making art supplies do things they're probably not necessarily intended to do. But anyway, so I'm just going to keep, like I said, I don't even usually like to lift up. I'm just making sure I fill in all the spaces. And then once it's dry, I might go over it with another coat. Like I said, even when I'm crossing over here, I get a little bit of resistance, but just keep it nice and wet and just keep going over the whole area here. And it doesn't take, as you can see, it doesn't take too long. Just going to go in here. All right. Yeah. All right. It's not, yeah, it's once you get it going. And, I've seen people do, I don't know. They can't, I don't know how much more detail they would get from this. You're getting, like I said, I've seen a lot of them, they're less detailed, but it's the idea is that you're just doing kind of a small area. You can go back in and just kind of, if there's any open areas, you can just kind of dab it a little bit, but that seems to be pretty good. And I'm just going to let that dry here. I'm going to put my cap back on. All right, and then I'm just going to pull one that I've already kind of got here. Now the next step I do, and it's a little out of order, because you're typically when I'm drawing something, I'll ink it first and then I'll color it. This one's going to be a little different, but I am going to pencil in first. And typically, a lot of times I use color erase pencils, but I use the color ones, which don't show up too much on this. So I'm just going to use a regular pencil. Hopefully it'll show up a little better. And I'm just going to and the good thing is, if you mess up with your pencil, basically you just take your paint pen and you go over it again. Of course, then you got to wait for it to dry. So try not to mess up, but you can always fix it if you do. So I'm going to go ahead and just block in one big eye here, one little eye here. And I don't want to do too much detail because it's a popsicle. Have you ever seen those character pops? They don't they don't, I mean, they don't have, obviously have a lot of detail. They've usually got like bubblegum eyes or whatever. So I'm going to make one eyeball kind of looking up here, one eyeball kind of looking down here. And then I'm going to do sort of a nose, like a kind of skeleton nose where it's the two, just the nostril holes, like the nose is worn away. And then what else? We'll make part of it almost like there's a bite out of it, but we're going to see the inside of it, and it's going to be sort of like a, you know, say like the inside is like maybe a pink, like a brain or something. So we've got that, and then I'm just going to draw the ears in here, and then let's see, we'll just get a mouth. Let's make it kind of silly. And I'll try to do it scary or silly. I assume since it's popsicle, it'll be kind of more silly. And then maybe we see his tongue on this one. And then, you know, we can just drop some eyebrows in here. And then why not just I'm going to put some kind of lines under the eyes here. Now, like I said, we're going to kind of make that area here where you see the kind of the three-dimensional part of it, the side of it, and then even on the bottom here, maybe a little bit, or the whole thing right there. All right, so we've got that, and I think that's good enough. You can do little spots there or something like that, but it's, you know, it's pretty basic. Oh wait, you know what? You guys probably aren't even seeing this. Let me see what's going on. Oh, we got Landon in the chat. We got Joe Dent. How you guys doing? What are the purpose of these remarks? So it's just like a collector thing. I'm going to hold this up because let me see. Let me turn this light off and see if you can see a little better. I'm kind of fighting with this lighting situation here. I got a new camera which works pretty good, but I guess it's just so light that it's hard to see. I'm sitting there drawing these pencils and you can't even see it. But rest assured, you know, I'm penciling it, and then the next step is going to be just coloring it with marker, which I can do right now. You don't have to wait for the pencil to dry or anything. But anyway, so the purpose of the remarks, it's like a collector's thing. So, you know, some people like sketch covers, the blank sketch covers, but it's just an extension. It's a little more than a signature. So usually they go along with a signature. So it might be like signed and remarked. Typically the way they work is, I haven't seen a lot of people remark comics that they aren't the creator of. So it's usually the creator of a particular comic, just like he or she is autographing their book, but they might do a little cartoon or a little drawing on it. And then people have kind of taken it to the next level where now we're actually, you know, adding white paint and everything, and we're doing something, you know, a little more in the lines of like this, rather than just a quick like Sharpie sketch. So that's pretty much, and there are people that look for these, and I've done a number of these where I've done variant covers for like Image Comics and Archie Comics and stuff, and I've done tons of these remarks, and people really kind of dig them. So it's just a collector thing. It's not necessarily for everyone, but there is on the Kickstarter, which you can kind of see running through here, there is a tier. It's a $55 tier where you get one of these original remarks. So as far as original artwork, that's kind of the cheapest way to get that as far as on this particular campaign. But there's still some of those, they're limited, but there's still some available. So if that's something that you might be interested in, you could definitely get one of these. You just have to back the Kickstarter. It's at youngandthedead.com. That will take you right to the Kickstarter. So let me get out some markers. The last one I did sort of green with this kind of bluish, like teal color, but maybe I'll do sort of a reverse, and let me find the right markers. And this is the part where, you know, it also, what I should have done was, sometimes it's good, and it's kind of late, I'd have to let this dry, but sometimes it's good to just block out an area, because the markers don't necessarily, and this is a little, it's acting a little weird on this kind of paper. You can see it's not, let me try this one, see if that's any better. It's just weird how markers react to different paper, but what I was getting at is, like, I should have found like an old comic or something and I could do this on, but it would help to block out a little area so you could test the colors of the markers, because they don't always show up the same color that you normally would expect on paper when you're drawing on top of this paint thing. But we're just going to have to, I guess, take, just, let me get a close approximation by getting a piece of paper here and see what it looks like. Like I said, this won't be totally accurate, but it'll give us a decent idea what color we're looking at. So I definitely like that. And it usually shows up a little lighter. So if you got something that's darker, that's pretty dark. But I think, let's see what this color looks like here. I don't like that one. Let me try this one here. I think I'll stick with these two here. So this zombie is going to kind of be a little more of like a blue zombie, and we might do some green highlights. So you know what? I keep forgetting I can pull up some of these comments. So Frank's saying he was going to do a Remarque on a copy of Captain Goggles and Mass Woman, but the cover by Anna looks so good. Yeah, that's the thing. Some people, some people don't want their covers disturbed. It just kind of depends, But I found, because I did a Betty and Veronica cover, and I was afraid, like, people, they want those, sexy gals on the cover, and they don't want them covered up with. Because it had an ice cream theme too, and I was doing like Archie characters as these ice cream pops, because it was Betty and Veronica summer special, and they were, they were by an ice cream truck and everything. So, but now people really wanted it. I guess they assume that if they wanted just the virgin cover, then not necessarily virgin cover, which I guess technically means that there's no logo or anything on it. But if they just wanted the cover without a Remarque, then they would maybe they get another one. Collectors are funny; they don't mind getting a couple different copies. So as you can see, it looks a little darker on my screen, but it's a little lighter than what you're going to see like right here. So just be aware that it's close. It's pretty close, but just kind of be aware that it can be a little lighter. So I'm just kind of going over, even though you guys can't really see my pencils, I'm just kind of going over that. I'm just filling in solid areas, and I might go in and add some darker areas too, especially in the shadow here. But for now, I can just fill all this stuff in. But again, these are. It's funny because I haven't seen, at least me personally, I haven't seen a lot of people do these at conventions, these Remarques. But I've seen, and maybe that's just me, but I've seen a lot of people do them in like store signings and stuff. So I don't know what that's all about, but. It's cool. It seems like we got a pretty lively chat, because, based on the number of people watching, it seems like most of them are actually in the chat. So that's cool that people are actually active. It's good that, I don't mind just people watching, but it's kind of cool that you guys are active as well. All right. So I got that. So now I can go in, and unfortunately it looks, and the funny thing about these is they don't look, I guess I should move it. They don't look great until it's completely done. Once you go and add the marker on top, and again, you have to kind of do it in reverse, because if you go ahead and you draw your use your microns or whatever, and then you go out with color, chances are it's going to smudge. So you kind of have to do it backwards. So, and they usually don't look all that great until it's completely done. Then they look pretty good. So just keep that in mind. It's like, I used to do traditional airbrush. I mean, and I haven't done that forever, because it's so, if you want an airbrush look, it's just so easier to do it digitally now. But traditional airbrush, where you would have to, you'd have to mask off different areas and spray it and then pull the mask off. And the problem was you couldn't see what you were painting until the whole thing was done and you pull it off. And then, so it usually looked kind of bad. And then finally it was just like, you pull all that mask off and it's like, oh, wow, that looks great. Okay. And then we'll see a little bit of the underside of that here. So we got that. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the eyes, the pupils sort of blue. And let me find some, here's the green marker. Let me, I don't know if I like that one. Let's try this one here. I don't know if I like either of those. Let's see. No, that's better. Okay, and then we'll go a little bit of green under the eyes. Like that. All right, and of course, let's see, we've got to find some pink for the brain. Let's fill in some solid pink there. Hey, Creed's in the house. How's it going, Creed? Got a lot of old friends showing up. All right. Let's see. And then, and then probably his gums. Yeah, this is one of those situations where, I don't know, that the new camera is good, but my lighting's not great where I am. But rest assured, I'm working on a new studio. I'm gonna have hopefully great lighting and everything, and just address a lot of the issues here. If you saw this setup, the way I'm doing it now, you'd probably laugh. It's very kind of this makeshift. I don't even have a place like, you know how when you sit at a desk, there's a place to put your feet under. I don't have that. I've got these drawers here because I'm off to the side of my desk, because in front of my desk, there's the Cintiq and I'm off to the side. So I'm kind of like straddling these set of drawers. So it's kind of awkward, but it'll work. We'll make it work for now until we get the new setup going. All right, let's see. Okay, and then we've got the popsicle stick, which is pretty light there. All right, and then I should go with this. I'm going to fill in on that here. And I think the rest is going to be pretty much black. And that's going to be when I add the lines and everything in there, when I add the outline, the inside of the mouth and everything. So, I mean, like I said, it kind of looks really bad, but trust me, when it's, like I said, when you get the whole thing done, it will definitely look better. So, just keep that in mind if you're doing these, that they're probably, I wish I had some other ones to show you. Oh, I wonder. No, I don't have them. I did some really cool ones of more realistic zombies, and they on some of my other covers, and they came out pretty good. So, all right, we'll do some more here. While we're going to let this dry just a little bit before we add the what do you call it? Edie's in the house. Hey, Edie, how's it going? Okay, let's see. I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, okay, let's go back. We're just going to probably alternate between green and, let's see, green and kind of blue on these. Oh, we got to pencil it out first. So let's see. We'll do another one. And when you're doing these, because you're doing quite a bit of them, they don't all have to be super unique or whatever. I mean, it's basically the idea you're going just the extra mile and just doing a little sketch on the cover. So I'll vary them a little bit, but by and large, they're going to be kind of similar. At least these ones are. So, see, I was just talking about how it doesn't show up. Well, you guys probably can't see it from where you are, but I was trying to do it with the color erase pencil that I usually pencil with, and it doesn't really show up those colored pencils. I have to do it with just a standard graphite pencil. So I'm going to draw one big eye, one little eye. We'll do the position of the eyeballs a little different this time, and maybe make one a little bit bigger. And these eyeballs are like super close. I'm going to make the eyebrows kind of perched up, and maybe I'll give this one a different nose, like his nose isn't totally eaten away. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then let's see what we can do for his mouth. We'll probably do something similar. Maybe he's just got just 2 teeth. Draw the ears. Of course, I want each. I feel like if I give somebody one without the little bite out with the brain, they're going to be disappointed. So I want to do that on each of them. And then let's draw in the little 3-dimensional element there. All right. Pretty simple. This one's a little more goofy than the other one. We're going to do this one. Let's see. This may be too. I wonder if that's too light. That's a little better. Okay, let's try that. All right. We'll start coloring this. So let's see what's been going on. I've been working on a new comic book project, which most people probably, I don't know if most people will see these. Hopefully I assume I can show it when it's done. I'm just writing it. I'm not illustrating it, but it's going to be a pretty cool project. Maybe I'll hold off talking about it. I'll probably talk about it more later, but it's for a big, it's something we're going to premiere. We're going to go to another country and premiere it in this big tech kind of conference. And that's in a couple months. So we don't have much time to work on this. So we're just getting started. So I'm a little nervous that everything kind of has to go perfectly with everyone signing off on stuff in a timely fashion and stuff. So we'll see. But it's cool to be working on another project, and I'm anxiously awaiting getting back to Young and the Dead, starting on the next issue. Now that I'm kickstarting issue 5, I want to do issue 6, which is the final issue, and that's going to wrap up the story. So I'm looking forward to that. But if you're not aware, if you haven't seen that little thing running across the screen, I've got the Kickstarter going right now. That's kind of what I'm doing these remarks for. There's a tier, $55 tier. If you back at $55, you get one of these remarks. They're one of a kind, and it's just kind of a cool like collector thing. So that's what's going on. Let's see. All right. Let me see if this color's dark enough here. It's a little darker. Yeah, that should work. But I did a couple streams where I showed my sketch covers, and I just edited a video. I think I'll post it I'll post it to Patreon tomorrow, and then that video will go up next week, I think on Tuesday. But I did a signing at my local comic book store, and I did some sketches and stuff. So I was just showing off some of those sketches and everything. All right, let's go in here. I always like to draw little bags under some of these zombies' eyes. And then I'm going to go ahead and do sort of the irises in that color. And then I'll fill that in black. And then let's see, go ahead and do some gums in here. Because these are based on popsicles again, I don't want to add too many colors, because I think probably the max number of colors I've seen on those popsicles, those character popsicles, is probably 3 colors. I think the Spider-Man was like blue, red, and I think the ice cream itself was white. So blue, red, and probably I want to say black, but maybe it was all blue. Maybe it's just blue and red. I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember. All right, and then popsicle stick. All right, so we're gonna let that dry. So I think we can go back now to this one, and this is sort of the tricky part. So I'm going to use a micron for this. And then we're going to do what we can. This is where you got to be a little careful. So, because you're drawing over paint, you don't want to press too hard on it because you could chip away at it. So you got to have a little bit of a light touch and maybe go over it a few times. I've tried to do this typically when I ink, I'll use not a paint pen, but what do you call it? A brush pen. But with these, I find microns tend to work a little better. So let's just draw the brains in there. And then I'm just going to gradually go over. And this stays wet a little bit, so you don't want to go over it with your hand. And just go ahead and fill. You kind of just want to take it easy. I should kind of watch. I kind of just taught myself how to do this, but maybe I should watch some other people and see how they do it. But I did talk to some people, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's pretty much how I do it." I mean, I did do some research as far as like what kind of markers to use and all that, but again, and then also, like I said, different artists do different things with Remarque. So, and I didn't even know these were kind of a thing with comics till recently. The comic store owner had to kind of tell me, he's like, "Can you do some Remarques?" I'm like, "Well, what's that?" And then he explained it, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know what that is. I've seen like magic card artists do it on magic cards, but I didn't know it was a thing for comics, but apparently it is." And then I'm just going to go in and fill in this. Again, just take it easy. Don't get ahead of yourself. I mean, it's not really the fastest thing to do, so it just take a little time, especially with all the stages. So, but it's just another like service you can add if you're doing original art for people, or comic book sketches and things like that. So now I'm trying to remember. I heard somebody say that certain pens like this are better than others, and I can't remember if they said that the Copic multi-liners were better than the Copics, or better than the microns for this or not. I don't remember, but these are microns, so I wonder if I should try one with the. I don't know if I have any Copic multi-liner pens. All right, let's going to kind of draw the ear in there. And I'm just doing a little bit of time. I'm trying to make a little bit at a time. I'm trying to make sure I don't brush over something. So I'm being real careful of what sections I'm doing, because you don't want to go over your lines and smudge it, because that could be bad. So I know Frank, he sent me a Stranger Things cover, and he did a little remark on it, and I'm wondering if he, what kind of process he was using for that. The good thing about brush pens, and I wish they would work, is you don't have to keep going over to make certain lines thicker. But with this, you have to if you want some line weight. But I know people who just draw comics with these these microns and just go over it again. I don't necessarily like to do that, because I just like the flow of the line where you can go thick and thin, where you can't really do that with the microns unless there's a way you can kind of break them. You can kind of cut them, but it's a little complicated. And I've seen guys that like Vince DePorter, who does a lot of stuff. He was doing SpongeBob comics. He kind of showed me how to break these markers, and it's kind of cool because I saw him doing this. The SpongeBob, I've actually got one up there, and if you looked at it, you think he did it with a brush pen, but it was with a micron. He cut it in such a way. It's almost like a calligraphy pen, but it's so tight, so tiny. These things are so tiny that he could get all these line weights with it. So, but that might be the way to go with something like this, but I don't have any of those broken microns. I'm just going to kind of go over it. I'll go ahead and add the people here and the people here. So again, he's kind of goofy, like he's looking in different directions. And I keep looking up at the screen that it looks a little different than what I'm saying. It looks better to me in person than it does on the screen, but that's all right. Like if you look at the thumbnail of this video, you can see it, it should look a little better than still practicing with getting the right setting for these live streams and everything with the camera and everything. But it also doesn't hurt that I'm working off of like the covers are glossy, so you're gonna get some glare. Like you can see that glare right there. That's why I'm kind of moving it over a little bit. But like I said, after this stream, I'm going to go on Jeff Lafferty and Gibb and Redinger's stream, and then I might do some sketch covers on there. So we'll see. But this worked out, I get to do Jeff's show, and because there's scheduling conflict with Artcaster, so I get to do this, and it worked out pretty good. All right, we'll get this little drip here. We're getting close, and then there's one extra step after I finish inking this that I do, and I'll show you what that is. Of course, we're going to let the ink dry because this is still a little wet here. And sometimes it will kind of affect the pen a little bit. I wonder if that's, sometimes you have to, like if you ever had a Sharpie and you're going on like a piece of poster board and it dries it out and you've got to go on a regular piece of paper to kind of get it to bounce back. That's kind of what this does. I don't think it likes to draw on this slick, these microns do. So maybe that's what they were saying, that I should be using the multi-liner. I'll have to see. Maybe we'll do another one. I'll try a multi-liner and see if that works better. Oh, I forgot I'm gonna fill in this black area, which I don't know too many popsicles that actually have black like food coloring in them, because I don't know, black food coloring, it seems, even though it's not supposed to have a flavor to it, whatever they use, anytime I've done like a cake and I've done black food coloring, it's you can taste it. I don't know why that is, and plus, it doesn't tend to come off as easy. I mean, most of these popsicles are going to stain your lips with whatever color whatever color the ice cream is. But all right, okay, so it's close. There's going to be one. Well, I'll just show you, and then we'll get back to it. But I always add like this white outline around it. See, just kind of help it pop out a little bit. So we're going to let this dry. We'll go on to another one. Now let me see if I can find a Copic multi-liner instead of this micron, and see if it works a little better as far as inking this in, and then that'll be the deciding factor. Here's some. Let's see. I don't know which one's which here. This one's a brush, which I don't think will do. I may be able to use that to fill in the solid areas. All right, let's try this. Oh, that's a brush too. Do I have? Okay, let's see. We're going to see if this works. All right. Okay, so right away, this feels like it works a lot better. So my suggestion is don't use Copics. Sorry, I said it wrong. Don't use the microns if you're doing these. Use Copic multiliners. And that's not the case with everything. It's just with Remarques, because I use microns all the time and they're great. But for this, for some reason, the Copics want to dry up. I keep saying the wrong thing. For some reason, the microns want to dry up. So it's just been a while since I've done these, so I forgot. But yeah, this works a lot better. So use the multiliners when you're doing these Remarques. Yeah, again, it's one of those things where usually I say, whatever tool works best, but in this situation with these, it's just kind of a finicky type thing. So you really need to use the right supplies. Yeah, this just goes on way smoother. I don't know why it is, because when you're just drawing on paper, I can't tell the difference between a micron and a Copic multiliner, but apparently on these Remarques, there's a difference. So I've got to get more of these, because I bought a whole big box of number 8 microns, and apparently I can't use those for Remarque. So I'm gonna have to get some multiliners here. Yeah, that's way better. It's just like night and day. I knew because my friend Eric, who does a lot of these, he was telling me, yeah, use the multiliners, and I forgot, but I can see why now. Have I tried using? So Granny Cox says, have I tried using Tombow? Is it Findosuke? Am I pronouncing that right? Brush pens. I've used are those I used to use the Tombows. They were like double. They were real long, and they had like two tips on a tip on either side. If those are the ones you're talking about, I used to use those, but correct, and these may be the wrong ones, but I think back then I used to use them, but I don't think they were light fast. I think they would fade, and I don't know I can't remember if they were water soluble or not. So I'm not sure. That there may have been something else. When I'm typically my favorite pen, if I'm just inking, are these. I think these are the Kuretake. Are these the Kuretake or the Fude pen? I'm not sure, but these are my favorite pens to use. I use these all the time. I just don't use them for the Remarques, just because I find the brush pens don't work great for these drawing on covers like this. Yeah, I can tell, like when I'm filling in these solid areas. I wonder what the difference is. You'd think they'd be very similar, the microns and the Copics, but apparently not. And it doesn't seem like these are drying up like the Copics do. I probably ruined some of those Copics. I keep saying, sorry, not Copics. Oh man, I'm going nuts here in my old age. The microns. I think I ruined some of the microns. Oh, I'm sorry. Can you guys not hear me? Let's see. Let me get the mic. Is that better? Is that a little closer? And I wish somebody would have told me sooner. That's another thing. I'll have better set up. And so I did move the mic closer, so hopefully you guys can hear me a little better. Sorry about that. I can't believe how far am I into this stream? I'm a ways into the stream, and I don't know if you guys could hear me this whole time. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I did. I actually have got I see the comment about making it a little melted. Yeah, I've got a little drip here. So we've got some of that going on, but I could make it more melted than that maybe on another one. But let's see. See, I just did the mistake I said I wasn't going to do, and that's I kind of got to get in here without smudging this part here because I should have done the eye first, but as long as I'm aware of it, I can hopefully get around it. All right. Follow that in. And the other things I don't want to forget to do is sign it too, because usually when you remark, you also sign it. So you can see right here, I got my signature there. So I want to make sure that when I go back and I do the white pen, do the outline, that I actually sign it as well. So this one's got a more of a kind of a funny nose than the one that's gonna worn away here. All right. So there's a little bit of a drip there. Oh, it sounds the same. Does it sound really bad to everyone else? Can you guys not hear me? I think there might be something weird with my mic because I've done these streams before, and I did a video today where I recorded part of it, in the underground lair area, which the mic on that camera is really good, and then I came up here to do the voiceover, and just the levels are way different. So, oh, Holly's in the chat. Hey, Holly, I was watching some of your recent videos. I'm glad to have you back. I know you kind of had a rough time, but I'm glad to have you back. So I was just telling everyone I'm doing these remarks for a Kickstarter I've got going on right now for Young and the Dead. I just finished issue number 5, but all the issues are available. I've got some awesome variant covers by some cool friends of mine that just did amazing artwork and everything. So doing that, and then there's also a tier where you can get one of these remarks. So that's kind of what I'm doing, are these just remarks where I'm drawing right on the covers here. It's so Creed says it's muffled, but I can still hear what you're saying. All right. Okay, boy. Let's see. Damn. I've got the mic pretty close. I wonder if I have time to check that before I go on to the next stream and see if there's a way to maybe adjust it so it picks it up better. That's weird. All right, so we got that. So let's see now. Oh wait, yeah. All right. Let's go back to the other one, and we'll go ahead and we'll do the outline here. So for this, I'm going to use the thinner Molotow. Again, I found that of the paint pens, these are the best ones to use, are these Molotows. Like I said, they're a little more pricey, but I've tried all kinds, and these seem to work the best. And I'm just going to go ahead and just go around the outline of it, and that's going to help this pop out. Oh, you know what I should do before I do that is I should go in and add some highlights. So let's add highlights on the eyeballs here, maybe a few highlights on the brain, a little on the top here. If there's any other areas, maybe on the top of the ear. All right, maybe here. All right. getting close to having this one done. And I don't know, I'm trying to see how much time do I have. I might be able to do, I might be able to do the outline of one more, and then we might wrap it because I got to get ready for the next stream. Hold on a second. All right, let's see. Okay, let's do a little highlight on the tongue here. And then I'm just going to add, like I said, the signature and the date, the year anyway. And that's pretty much it. That's my process for doing a remark. And that's what it looks like. So again, there's a $55 tier where you can get one of these remarks plus all the other comics. So that's pretty cool. Just go to youngandthedead.com, or there's a link, I think, in the description of this video that will take you right there. Let's see. Okay, so Frank says it might be too close, but I can hear every word. Huh, okay, well, anyway, I apologize for anyone if they're having trouble hearing the stream. We'll do one more outline, and then we'll probably wrap it up. And then, like I said, if you guys follow Jeff Lafferty on his channel, I'm going to be doing his art cast tonight. So I haven't been on his since he started doing it up again, because they usually do it at the same time we do art casters. But since we're not doing art casters tonight, I figured why not pop up over there and talk to those guys. All right. Oh, I forgot to do the highlights. Really, the highlights really add so much. I mean, you don't get much if you don't add that little white to the eyes. It's almost like you're missing out. All right. I've always, even when I'm not doing remarks or whatever, I like to do these little white outlines around things, because it reminds me of when I was a kid and I used to collect stickers, and they always, like the stickers that came with the Star Wars cards, or most of them always had this white outline around it. I think the wacky packages had a black outline around them, but they all had that, and I don't know, I just like that aesthetic. I just think it helps things pop out a little bit. So I always like to do that myself. You'll see that in a lot of my illustrations. Like if you look at my prints online, you'll see a lot of the foreground elements will have that white outline around it just to kind of pop them out. I don't see a lot of other artists necessarily doing that, but I don't know. It's just something I kind of gravitate to. All right. Let me do my name here. All right, so there is another one. So anyway, I'll do a real quick review of the process. So again, we want to block out. Do I have any? Yeah. So what you want to do, you're going to start off with your blank cover. The first step you want to do is just block out the area, and you kind of have to visualize what it's going to look like before you actually draw it, and kind of figure out, oh, okay, well, what's going to fit in this space, because you're drawing the outline before you actually add any of the details. Then the next step is just to get your pencil and just lightly sketch in whatever the design is, just so you have something to go off of. And then you don't ink it the next step. That's very important. You got to go color first. So then you want to add your color based on where your pencil lines are, add your color, and then the last step you want to do is ink it. And I recommend the Copic multi-liners for this. They work a lot better. The first one I did, I was using the microns. They don't work great on this paint pen or these covers, so use the Copic multi-liners. So use the Molotovs. You can find them just search Molotov all for one on Amazon. They've got them there. Not super cheap, but when you're doing these, you want to use quality products, because you're doing these as like an original art piece to give to somebody, and you want it to hopefully last and everything. And I don't know, as far as these Remarques, how they hold up. It's a recent thing, so I don't know how they hold up over time. Because if you put this on too thick, or if you got a comic book that's like, these are pretty thick covers, but if you have a thinner cover, sometimes the paper will buckle up. I don't find it with these. I got these done. These are print on demand through Comics Wellspring, and they handle this really well. But it's just an experiment. What I would recommend you doing is we got Joe Dent and Thomas Adams in the chat. Hey, you guys. I'm wondering, Posca paint pens may work. I think those are quality too. I would just test them out. Like I said, I try the Sharpies. They don't work too great. I tried a super cheap. I tried to buy these in bulk because I thought I could get more out of them. I don't recommend it. These weren't good at all. So I'm just going to stick with the Molotow, but the Poscas are decent markers, so they may work. All you can do is experiment. So get some old comics that you don't care about, messing up. And again, the thing about these is it's as far as I've seen, usually the only time you're doing remarks is if you are the actual creator of the comic. So if you just if you're publishing a comic, self-publishing or whatever you're doing on your own, most people, it's not like, maybe when the fan artists get into it, maybe they'll start doing it. But I haven't seen a lot of people do sketches on covers that they didn't actually create. So, for that may just be kind of the way it is. At least that's what I've seen. But anyway, if you're self-publishing and you want to do these as rewards, then get some old comics out, test it out, test the different, you can try some Poscas out, see if they work, Molotows, whatever you want, and just practice. But I wouldn't make your first remark that you're going to do on your first printed comic, because you don't want to waste it, So just practice it out, and yeah. So I've got, hopefully these are all pretty dry. I've got a few of these right now. And again, these will all be on the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is live. It's got another week to go. So definitely check it out. Go to youngandthedead.com if you haven't already. All kinds of cool rewards. I really would encourage anyone to check out those variant covers, because there's one by Joshua Kimball, there's one by Corey Kerr, one by Gary Hodges, one by Federico Marchetti, and one by Russ Leach. And they are all amazing. And there's a tier where you can get all of them. Or if you just like one in particular, if you back at a physical level, you can add one of those. You can add one of those variant covers. There's add-ons where you can add those in. So just depending on what you're interested in there, but definitely check it out. And if you think somebody that might be interested, share it out on social media. Like I said, we've only got like a week to go, so time is running out to back this thing, and we're trying to get to. I think we've got another $1,000 to go before we hit that next stretch goal, and that's going to be a cool 3D print that everyone that backs at the physical level is going to get. So I really want people to get that. So if you're already a backer and you thought, well, maybe I want to add one of those variant covers, you can go and you can add that on too. And all that stuff helps, and it's going to help you guys, anyone that's already backing, because you definitely want to get that 3D print with the 3D glasses too. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say. Like I said, if you want to see me again later tonight, if you follow Jeff Lafferty's channel, I will be on his live stream, him and Gibbon Redinger. So definitely check me out there. But I appreciate everyone that was in the chat, and I will see. Oh, I got one more. Let's see. Before I go, there's another question. Where's my mouse here? Let me try. There it is. Okay. So Frank says, what can you do? Remarque rookies back the Young and the Dead, get multiple copies and practice on that. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. If I don't see you on Jeff's show, I will see you back either live, probably for Artcasters next week, or I've got a video coming out, I think, on Tuesday. So I will see you guys then. Later.